Street Journal is now reporting that Justice Department officials told President Trump in May that his name was among many names mentioned in the Epstein files. What officials felt was unverified hearsay about many people, including Trump, who had socialized with Epstein in the past, some of the officials said. One of the officials familiar with the documents.
So in that statement from the Attorney General and the Deputy Attorney General, they are not directly addressing the most significant part of this, which is the reporting that Trump was told he was mentioned multiple times in these files.
What do Jeffrey Epstein's secret files and Donald Trump's MAGA world have in common? Chaos. More files were promised, then hidden, sparking bizarre theories and a political meltdown. But why is Trump himself calling it a hoax? And what's hiding in those infamous Epstein client lists? Stay tuned. The truth might be uglier than anyone expected. Before we move on, I would like you to subscribe to the channel and like the video. If someone once called Jeffrey Epstein a terrific guy, would it haunt them forever? Well, if that someone is Donald Trump, the answer might be yes. Back in 2002, Trump didn't just share a zip code with Epstein. He shared social circles, Mar-a-Lago's membership list, and even partied with him on occasion.
DOJ and the FBI reviewed the Epstein files and reached the conclusion, set out in the July 6th memo, nothing in the files warranted further investigation or prosecution. We have filed a motion in court to unseal the underlying grand jury transcripts. We'll get to that in a second. It says the memo released on July 6th is consistent with a thorough review conducted by the FBI and DOJ. The criminal leakers and fake news media tries tirelessly to undermine President Trump with smears, lies, and this story is no different. If we go back to the first Bondi-related Epstein controversy, you may remember she held an event to great fanfare at the White House where she handed out binders of what was promised to be new information related to the Epstein.
That infamous terrific guy quote came from a New York Magazine profile where Trump described Epstein as someone who liked women on the younger side, but conveniently skipped over just how young. Fast forward 2 decades, and Trump would probably prefer to eat an unseasoned steak than hear those words again. But the internet never forgets, and neither do his critics. Add in those grainy photos of Trump and Epstein laughing together at events, and you've got enough fodder to keep cable news talking for weeks. It doesn't stop there. Epstein's infamous contact list includes Trump's private numbers, which Trump defenders claim means nothing. After all, New York elites used to pass around phone numbers like business cards. Still, try explaining that to political opponents who love comparing Trump's ties to Epstein with their favorite analogy.
Most of what she handed out was already in the public record, but sources at that time told me a lot of the frustration from the White House with Bondi and that event was the fact that they didn't redact Trump's name. That incident, so it tracks with what the Wall Street Journal is reporting here, that they would be very sensitive about any mention of Trump's name in subsequent files.
He says, quote, "The fact is that the president kicked him, Epstein, out of his club for being a creep. This is nothing more than a continuation of the fake news stories concocted by the Democrats and liberal media, just like the Obama Russiagate scandal, which President Trump was right about."
Being buddy-buddy with the guy who ran Pedo Island. It's like trying to walk back a friendship with Dracula for borrowing your coffin once. Tricky, right? Then the Wall Street Journal dropped a curveball, the alleged Epstein birthday wish signed by Trump. Trump, never one to just shrug something off, lashed out vehemently, calling the story fake and launching a $10 billion lawsuit against Rupert Murdoch, essentially putting Fox's parent company in his legal crosshairs. That lawsuit feels like classic Trump, go big or go home. But the accusation has already added more fuel to the dumpster fire that is his Epstein connection. For Trump's base, this whole ordeal creates a messy political contradiction. On one hand, Epstein is a symbol of everything Trump told them he stands against, America's corrupt elites. So why not demand answers or transparency over Epstein's client lists? On the other hand, they can't risk acknowledging those ties too seriously without the entire MAGA narrative cracking like a broken golf club. But Trump's history with Epstein is only the beginning. The real chaos started when those secret files came into play. Imagine promising your supporters a truth bomb but delivering a cover-up instead.
President Trump is in the Epstein files. And then just a few weeks after that, 3 weeks or whatever it may be, the whole thing gets shut down. The conspiracy theorists are having a field day with that axis of the timeline.
Yeah, you can be a conspiracy person. I mean, weird is a good word, but how does Elena and Elon know what's in the file? They don't know. The FBI chiefs under Biden and Trump, they know. Okay, Merrick Garland, he knows, Bondi knows, okay, and you would assume Biden and Trump themselves know.
That's exactly what happened with the Epstein files, and it's causing chaos in MAGA world. Back in the early days of Trump's presidency, Attorney General Pam Bondi made it sound like they were gift-wrapping justice for the American public. She even hinted that a client list from Epstein's files was sitting right there on her desk. For a base already fueled by anger at elites and craving accountability, this was as good as it gets. But here's where it unravels. When Bondi later clarified that her list wasn't an official Epstein client roster, the excitement turned into confusion. It wasn't long before this transparency win started looking more like a locked safe, and MAGA supporters began asking questions Trump couldn't answer. Fast forward to the DOJ's statement that no more Epstein files would be released, claiming it wasn't warranted. If you listened closely, you could hear conspiracy theories detonating across social media. Many of Trump's own base felt betrayed. It wasn't just the files staying hidden, it was the promise of exposing corruption slipping between their fingers. For a crowd that loves slogans like "Drain the Swamp."
How is he convicted? How do you convict
Epstein
a guy who's dead?
was convicted in I believe, okay, under Merrick Garland's Justice Department. That could be. Am I wrong on that? I don't think so.
The Biden administration was not involved in a conviction or a trial of him. They were in of his madam, of Ghislaine Maxwell.
Okay. Whether you
Yeah, Bill,
suicide or
I think this is
somebody murdered
important. Bill, I think this is important. He was arrested in 2019, and he committed suicide in 2019. He died August 10th of 2019.
And then he was incarcerated, and then he committed suicide. Okay. The suicide thing.
This felt like pouring the swamp into cement. To make matters worse, Trump's response didn't help. He called the Epstein case a hoax, while also insisting Bondi's team gave credible information. Confusing? Absolutely. It was like watching someone build a house while setting fire to the blueprints. Conservative commentators like Laura Loomer weren't having it. They're now demanding Bondi resign and calling out Trump for dodging the issue. Infighting exploded among Trump's supporters, and suddenly, MAGA world started to look like a bad Thanksgiving dinner. Tense, loud, and no one leaving happy. This chaos isn't just about Epstein anymore. It's putting cracks in Republican unity, with Trump's electability facing real questions heading into crucial elections. The files might never see daylight, but their political fallout is damaging every inch of Trump's image. And with all this chaos, what happens next could completely reshape Trump's legacy, for better or worse. The Epstein files may be gathering dust, but the fallout isn't. Trump's image is taking hits where it hurts, in the loyalty of some of his biggest fans. The cracks in MAGA world are hard to ignore as supporters argue over whether Trump's playing 5D chess or just running from a mess. Steve Bannon even warned Trump could lose 10% of his base if he doesn't deliver the promised client list. So, will they demand answers, or is loyalty stronger than the truth? One thing's for sure, Trump may call it a hoax, but Epstein's shadow isn't disappearing anytime soon.